I remember when my parents built me this gaming room for Christmas. So before this, I was like kind of addicted to video games. I would play it a little bit, but then I would go play basketball outside. But then when they built me this, oh my god, the addiction got so much worse. It was this big TV, it was this big couch. I had a fridge with like a bunch of sodas in it, and I had this like big box of like 40 bags of potato chips right next to me. And so I honestly spent most of my childhood in there, just addicted to video games, eating like this low protein, high sugar slop kind of diet. And I also started to get addicted to porn. I would start watching it roughly like 3 times every single day for like years. And so all these bad habits made me start having this like weak, flabby looking physique. And I just felt miserable, bro. Like I was just sitting there and I was like, what is the point in even going? Like, why should I keep going in life? I looked around and I saw all my friends. They were talking about the girls that they were attracting, and I couldn't even attract a girl, so I would just like keep watching porn to get that sense of fulfillment, you know? And I can just remember thinking like, is this all there is to life? Like, is this what life is? Am I just gonna be miserable until I eventually die? But then I started to implement this concept that I called flipping the chart. So basically, your progress in life is a lot like a chart, and it's, for me, for example, you remember my habits, it was just going downhill, bro. And so I felt so depressed because when I looked at my future, it was going downhill. Like there was no point in even going, and I actually started to get thoughts about taking my own life. But then I eventually like learned about working out and stuff, and I started doing workouts in my bedroom. And then my mom got me a gym membership, and now I've been working out for like almost 4 years. And it was that one habit that flipped the chart. So now when I looked at my future, it was going uphill. Like I knew that if I stuck with the gym, I was eventually gonna be up here. And this is when it finally became clear to me. I was feeling miserable all because of my habits. Your habits are a lot like voting. So you're either voting for your future self to be better, or you're voting for your future self to be worse, you know? And I was constantly voting for my future self to be worse, and I was wondering like, oh, why is my life like this? Why am I miserable? It became very clear to me, you know? So I want you to do this quick little practice with me. Open up like the notes app on your phone, or get a pen and paper. Do this practice. Write top 1% and then write your name, and then write bottom 1% and then write your name. So basically what you're gonna do is you're going to envision a day in your life if you had like all this success and you were like the top 1% and you were like just so successful, right? You achieved all the goals that you wanted. Or you were the bottom 1%. You can imagine like the bottom 1% of people like watching porn for hours every single day, like vaping, doing drugs, like, you know, degeneracy. Imagine these two lives. And so I'm actually gonna read you mine real quick so you get like a quick general idea before you write down yours. So here's mine. Bottom 1% Carson. I wake up sleep deprived. I stayed up last night scrolling because I have no sense of fulfillment in my day. I have to go work a job I don't even like. When I was a young man, I didn't focus on chasing my dream career or my dream business. I just partied and wasted time on video games or scrolling. I look in the mirror before my morning shower, becoming obese. I used to have a dream physique, you know, but it's gone to shit. I'm dating a girl and she's like a 3 out of 10. So am I. Our relationship is toxic and we rarely even have sex. I feel so disgusted because I'm a grown-ass man dating this girl and I'm still addicted to porn. By the time I get home from work, I'm drained. I hate my job so much, but I have no motivation to even change. I don't want to go work out. There's just no point. I just want to lay down and watch Netflix or scroll. Hours pass and it's time for bed. I'm horny. Me and my girlfriend try to have sex for the first time in over a month. I can't even get hard. I have chronically low testosterone. Then I stay up scrolling, saying just one more reel over and over and over until I realize I'm gonna get under 5 hours of sleep. So that's bottom 1% Carson, right? Here's the other one, top 1% Carson, a day in the life of, you know, the successful version of me. I wake up next to my wife. She's still asleep and I'm just admiring her beauty. She is the woman of my dreams. I get out of bed, get ready to take my morning shower. I look in the mirror. Holy shit, I look good. I have been lifting since I was like 15 years old, and all that discipline is just paying off. I go to work on my online business. When I was a young man, instead of going out and partying and scrolling and wasting time watching Netflix, I actually committed myself to growing my dream career, my dream business. Everyone said I was weird for living like that, but now it finally paid off. I get so much fulfillment because I can literally make money from like doing my dream, you know? I record a couple of videos knowing it will save multiple men from suicide and depression and insecurity. Now it's time to go work out. It's chest day with my best friend. We're pushing each other and everyone in the gym knows us. We talk to basically everyone there. And it's just an amazing ass workout. Then I go home. Me and my wife meditate and study our Bible together. Then we eat dinner with no screens, right? We're just talking about life. This is my dream life. I go to bed early, getting like 9 hours of sleep, and tomorrow will be another day of this disciplined lifestyle. So I hope that gives you a general idea of what to write down when you're doing this practice. But the reason why I'm trying to get you to do this is when you write all this down, it basically gives you like this identity shift. Like you start to realize that there are two kinds of people that you will eventually be like. And so you start to identify your habits. Is it top 1%, whatever your name is, or is it bottom 1%? You see what I mean? Like if you identify as this like top 1% kind of dream life, you're gonna start to do more of the habits to reflect that, right? But if you're like younger Carson and he's like, oh, there's no point, I'm a loser, it's miserable, you're all pessimistic and stuff, you're going to start to identify more with that bottom 1%, and your habits are going to emulate that. You'll keep eating the junk food, you'll stay addicted to porn and video games and just wasting time for years. And you'll eventually be looking at all the other guys' success and you'll just say like, oh, it's genetic or it's luck. And you'll stay stuck like that for years. You'll just be this average, like mediocre kind of guy if you don't like have this identity shift. So that's why I'm like trying to urge you to do this shit. By the way, if you've been watching my videos for a while and you enjoy my content, all the value I'm providing for free, you should go check out top link in the description for our school community. And here's the scary thing that no one wants to admit. Both of these guys, the top 1% version of you and the bottom 1% version of you, they both have the same 24 hours in their day. Like you can imagine the bottom 1% version of you, he wakes up and he immediately starts scrolling. He's consuming all this like high dopamine, like overstimulating type of content and stuff, and he's just trying to escape the reality of his life because it feels like shit. And then he's looking at all the guys with success and he's saying like, oh, it's genetic, it's luck. You wanna know how I know this? Because I was just like that. I had this friend when I was growing up and he was like so athletic, and he was able to attract any girl he wanted, right? And I was just like, oh, it's luck, it's genetic, blah blah blah. But bro, eventually, like I said, I flipped the chart and I started getting into the gym, right? And guess what? I saw that friend at the gym. So that's when it clicked to me, like, bro, it wasn't genetics and it wasn't luck. Like, it was all because of my habits. And here's the weird thing. Every single, like, minute habit that you do is basically a vote for who you want your future self to be. That's why I'm urging you to do this practice. I really hope you have done it by now. Because when you do this, you're basically, you now have two people to identify who you're voting for. Are you voting for the bottom 1% version, or are you voting for the top 1% version, you know? There are two versions of you. One stays miserable and the other one becomes successful. And these two guys are like fighting a war in your brain. They're fighting a war of, what habit do you want to do? Are you going to actually go and work out, or are you just going to sit down and like consume like high dopamine, like scrolling short form pornography? Like it is just all this weird stuff. And the only thing that you can do to decide who you want your future self to be is to take action. Not sit here and say like, oh, I'm not motivated, I'll do it tomorrow. None of that. You actually have to do this practice after watching this video, because mark my words, in like 5 years you are going to wake up as one of these guys, the bottom 1% guy or the top 1% guy. The only thing that decides is if you take action right now. And by the way, if you want like direct access to me and you want my personal help for your specific situation, go check out top link in the description for our school community, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.